Hello people, it's Captain Trucker here. Thanks for coming back to the channel. Please subscribe. We're here today in the Arizona desert. I'm driving up through Nevada to Kent, Washington. It's gonna be a fun ride, I hope. Anyway, I just showered and my hair dried really weird, so I can't do anything about it. I tried to comb it, but it's not doing anything. Sorry. But in this video, I want to talk about why it's actually a beneficial and good idea, and why I'm having my son do his education and be raised in the Philippines as an expat, okay? My son's a dual citizen, so he's both Filipino and American citizenship. And there's a lot of, well, not a lot, but well, maybe a good amount of expats in that situation. And what a lot of people don't realize is, you know, the Philippine education system is also based on US curriculum, okay? But the issue is sometimes that in public schools, they have such large classrooms, or maybe the parents aren't involved. Sometimes kids don't do well. So if you can put your kids like in a private school or an international school, that could be a good option too. So international schools are usually extremely expensive, even by, you know, what any standard. I mean, dozens of thousands of dollars per semester and stuff. And some of them, maybe less, I don't know. That could be off. But there's some private schools in the cities and provinces that are actually just as good, in my opinion. But the other part you want to do is get a private tutor to work with your kids with their curriculum in addition to go in school. And one thing that I did with my son is I got extra curriculum, like modules that he does just on his own, as well as a private tutor. And, you know, we're with him when he goes to school and stuff like that. So it's, you want to really be involved in any country, any place you're in, with your kids' education, okay? And the other reason I'd like to do that is to, like, because some people might think it's like kind of strange or really messed up if they, like, you know, you're a foreigner like me and they hear you have like kids in the Philippines, they're like, what the F, you know? Was this guy? And you kind of get that reaction probably from history, like the history of what the military did, the US military, leaving their kids behind, leaving people behind. Sex tourism, unfortunately, you know, people have left behind kids. They didn't take care of their own kids, you know? So I think that's where some of those reactions come from, but the truth is some of that's ignorant too, because that's not the case for some people. Sorry, it's the wrong word. It's the wrong word! What I was saying is, I like the culture of raising kids there, okay? Because like we all know, we got the family-oriented culture. Like, literally, they're always around family. His mom, his uncles, his cousins, his grandparents. You know, everybody is sort of collectively together with that inclusive group energy, right? The group, it's not so individualistic. So in the US, for instance, like especially in a single, if you have like 2 kids or 1 kids and like both parents are working, it can be a pretty, you know, I don't know. You can live in a nice neighborhood and have a nice house and all that, but it can be a pretty lonely, mundane type of vibe, like, because you're not going to be around family constantly, you know what I mean? I mean, some families might, not really. I know a lot of my friends, like in the US, they have, like the ones that have kids and stuff, it's like maybe they'll see their parents, their grandparents, the kids' grandparents every couple months, every some odd weeks, and then, you know, every other month or every 4 or 5 months their uncle might come over, or they might meet a cousin. So they're not so much all together, you know? And I think that's a really cool thing. And I think that's really important for kids to have that and to value that, and not to be spoiled in this kind of materialistic lifestyle that we have in the US, to be jaded by the ignorance that comes from that materialism, by living with the Joneses and stuff, by living in these houses we can't afford, and mom and dad are stressed out because they're paying bills, they're in debt, all that kind of stuff. That takes a lot, man. That materialistic culture here in the US, it's so deeply rooted to the core, okay? That we're put in work and material before the family. We're mixing up the priorities. See, at least in countries like the Philippines, they, you know, some of them might be poor, but in my opinion, they're putting the family first and work second, okay? And I think that's an important thing. You know, sometimes. I don't want to teach my kids to be slaves to consumer debt. I don't want them raised in a bankrupt culture that puts work in debt in front of spending time with their kids, okay? Because that's what we're promoting here in the middle class in the US. Not entirely, but it is broadly, relatively compared. There's some of that going on, man. That's why you get a lot of like angry, stressed out parents, and they just think as long as they put food on the table and they live in the Joneses neighborhood that they're being parents or that they're being a mother or a father, and it's bullshit, okay? It's almost an excuse. Like, we're so materialistic here that we're putting it in front of everything and everybody, all right? So, yeah, I'd rather raise my kids in a poor country with the right resources, because I think that's a better education myself. I really do. Yeah. Did I start yelling? I don't know why I'm yelling. Oh, sorry. I thought that was funny. Yeah, man. So there is pluses to educating your kids in the Philippines. You just got to be involved, okay? I remember when I got my son's passport, or his dual citizenship, I had to do something called the CRBA with the embassy in Manila, and it's a relatively easy process. Well, it can be. It's a lot of administrative work, a lot of paperwork, because even if you have a kid overseas as an American and he's born there, he doesn't automatically get his passport or U.S. citizenship. You have to go to the embassy. You have to fill out a bunch of forms. You have to, you know, whether you're married or not, you almost have to like prove a case in a sense and all that. And yeah, we went through all that, and it was a lot of fun, kind of, I guess. But I remember I was being interviewed at the embassy by this officer, this woman, this white woman, American, about my same age with like reddish hair. And I gotta say, she was quite rude. I wasn't digging her at all. And I think it was a thing where she reminded me of like one of those social workers, like maybe they start off or they go to school and they have like good intentions, and then they get involved in social work and they start becoming bitter because they realize there's like not much they can do and they're working in a broken system. Well, here in the US, you get a lot of that. You get that with people that get into like psychiatry too and stuff. They end up getting broken by the system, and then they turn into like these embittered people. But anyway, yeah, she was kind of rude to me and, you know, my son's mother, and I just wasn't digging her. And I was kind of basically said, you know, lady, what do you want me to say? I mean, you know, and, you know, like, what's your problem, basically? Like, you know, your feelings here aren't too relevant. Like, why don't you, you know, shut the F up, give my son his passport, let us go. And that's kind of what I said. And it worked. I mean, I wasn't that rude. I was kind to her, but like I said, she just had an attitude. Just like an angry white woman, the type of white woman I would never hang out with. Like, kind of aggressive, kind of rude. I'm just not digging it. I got way off course. Anyway, yeah, take care of, stay involved with your kids' educations, guys, and, you know, just be there every step of the way. It's Captain Trucker. Sorry again for my hair. I dried it, and it dried weird, and I couldn't comb it. But anyway, thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and look forward to your comments. I'm curious if anybody has experience with this as well. Let me know, and take care, guys. Bye-bye.